Hi there, I'm Linda and this is Huttons Valley Permaculture. I'm needing some more plants up in my food forest. So today I thought I'd show you how I turn my kitchen garden into a plant nursery and also show you how I move these plants to their new homes. In my video, What to Plant in a Kitchen Garden, I've given a run through of most of the plants that I grow here, but it didn't include everything. I've thrown lots of seeds out into the garden which grow flowers or greens that I leave to go to seed, and they almost become perennial in this way. All I need to do then, to spread them around, is dig them up. Depending on the size of the plant, determines whether I just dig them out of the ground and transfer them to their new location, or whether they might be a small seedling and might need some potting up and a bit of nurturing before they get to move to their new home. Lots of plants in the garden can have cuttings taken from them, or they can be propagated by digging them up and splitting them. I demonstrated this in my video on rhubarb propagating. I managed to split this one plant and move it to about 10 different locations. And this plant here was dug up and shared with my neighbour. I did keep one crown so I could replace the plant in this spot. I'm just going to go around the garden and show you what this plant nursery can supply. Now just here I've got 3 different plants that I can dig up. I've got the oregano, some chervil, and over here I've got a little yarrow that I can spread around. That's enough root. I'll just be able to transfer that straight into its new location. This little plant here is actually just growing right on top of the pavers. So that's another little plant. So you can see its little root mass just there. So that will transfer as well. And over here, I've just got a little bit of yarrow. These ones I might just pot up and nurture for a little while before I put them in the ground. So there's 3 plants already. Now for little roots like that, it's important to keep the roots damp. So I'll just grab some wood chips and pop that on top until I get them potted up. So either do it straight away or just make sure you look after the roots so that they don't dry out. I've got a flat leaf parsley here. I'd like some of this out in my front garden actually, so I'm going to move that. There we go. Now I've just spotted a gooseberry which has come from the parent plant, which is just over there. I did what's called stool layering, where you hold down one of the branches under the soil until it's rooted. So this plant is looking quite healthy now. It's developed lots of leaves. So once I realised that it had rooted, I did cut that off, but I'm going to dig this one up now and get this plant moved to a new home. So you can see that's got a good root system on that now. That can transfer to a new home without being potted on. Now I've got a heap of strawberries everywhere and they're not hard to dig up. So I'll just grab this one. But right next to it is a little evening primrose seedling. Well, quite a few. They self-seed very easily. You do have to watch them a bit. But somewhere where you want lots of plants to grow, I don't mind moving that one too. So I'm going to grab both of these. Okay, so that's got both there. Just here, I've got a little orange California poppy plant. They self-seed very easily. So there's lots of them in the garden and they're just beautiful. So we'll move some of those. You've just got to find where the root goes in. So it goes in here. I'll just dig that up. That's got a good bit of root on it, so that should transfer really well. I've got a bit of a patch of comfrey here. Now comfrey you can grow from seed, but you can dig up plants and move them somewhere else, or you just need just a small bit of root like I showed you in one of my videos, and that's enough to grow a plant. But I'll just dig this one up. Be aware that even when you dig up the plant, you will be leaving some root in the ground, so it's hard to move comfrey from one spot and eradicate it, so be sure you want it where you're going to put it, because it's really there to stay. So we've got a good bit of root there with our little comfrey plant, so that'll be able to transfer straight into a new location. We've got another strawberry as well. This little plant here, mixed in with another strawberry plant, is lemon balm. Now that's nice dried and have the leaves in teas, or I also put it in my chicken nest boxes because it repels the mites, so I like to have a bit of that around so I can grab. It is in the mint family, so it's not hard to move that and get that growing again. And again, just be aware where you put it. Just make sure you do want your plants there. So we've got a good bit of root and another strawberry along with my lemon balm. Now looking down around my rhubarb, I've just discovered this little plant. Rhubarb really wants to grow, so it's not hard to move that around to different spots. So I'll look after this little guy and get it growing again properly. Being a berry, raspberries do spread fairly easily. So we're going to dig this one up here. And look, we might just grab that and transfer that to the front garden too while we're at it. I'll dig these both up at the same time. So that's a beautiful little Swiss chard. I can move that one to the vegetable garden. And we've got actually a couple of plants. We've got this little baby plant, but I won't separate it. I'll keep it with its parent plant here. So that's the raspberries. While I'm in this location, you can see there's lots of little seedlings here. These are all little calendula seedlings that you would be able to pot up. But what I'm going to grab today is this plant here. It's a little bit more sturdy to go into my swale area. So you can see there's a good bit of root on that, so that should transfer nicely. This here is one of my blackcurrant plants. I've got several up in the swales already, but it's really easy to grow new plants just from cuttings. Spring and late autumn are a good time to do it. And I'm just going to take one of the canes with new growth on it. So I'm just going to take that one off there. I'm going to do the same with this red currant plant. As you can still see, I've got my nursery tag on it, and it was $11 to buy this one plant. But that was actually an investment because I can turn this into a huge number of plants over the years. So I'll take a cutting of this one and we'll pot it up. This one here is Vietnamese mint. Because we're just coming out of spring still, it hasn't kicked really back into life yet. It needs a bit more warmth, but it roots really easily. So we can just dig some up and spread that around. I'll trim this plant down. It hasn't got a lot of roots on it there, but I'll trim that down so that it can establish itself again. Here's a little bit of chives. I've previously dug some up from this area and replanted this main plant, but here's a little bit that we must have missed. So I can move that somewhere else. Sometimes you've got to investigate your plants a little bit. This one's a lemon thyme, and often you'll find little plants around, but sometimes you do have to kind of search for a bit that you can pinch off the main plant. And I think this bit here has rooted. It's got a few little weeds around it. I'm just going to give this a go, digging it up and see what we get. There we go, that bit of the branch has rooted. So I'm going to pot this one up. I'm going to trim it and put it in a pot to start with and get that established again. In through here, which is just starting to go crazy in my garden. It's from the mint family, so that's what you'd expect from it, is chocolate mint. Now this is a gorgeous little mint that is beautiful dried and in teas. It really gives a great flavour. So I'm happy to spread this one up around my swale, and I don't mind how far it goes. I'm just going to dig up this little piece here, and this will take off really easily. I'm just going to get that bit of weed out of it. Okay, there we go. We've got 2 chocolate mint plants now. I'm looking for a little borage plant that I can dig up. These ones probably wouldn't transfer too well unless I got a really good bit of root. So I'm looking for a smaller one, which there's one kind of hiding in amongst everything here. So I'll give this one a go at getting it out of here. It's got a tiny little bit of root there, so I don't know if it'll transfer. I've just moved to my front garden to show you the size borage which would be best to transfer. In my kitchen garden, there's none this size at the moment, so I'll just show you that. It's a nice compact little plant at this point, and that's got a good bit of root on it, so that will take off really quickly. Okay, I think that'll do it for the moment. I've counted them up, and I think there's about 19 different types of plants here, which isn't too bad for just a quick whip around the garden. It's amazing what you can dig out of a space like this kitchen garden. The key to this is actually just letting it go wild. Let your plants spread. You know, the strawberries spreading everywhere. This chocolate mint seems to be going everywhere. But if you let a lot of chaos happen, it all sort of harmonises together. What I'm going to do with this is pot up some of the little plants that are too small to transfer out. But these raspberries and the gooseberries and the strawberries, I'm going to put up into my food forest. The herbs, I might put up in that food forest as well. I'll move the oregano, chives and chervil up into an area I've got up there. And the Swiss chard, I'm just going to pop up into my vegetable garden. The calendula flowers, I'm going to move to my food forest. And again, right there, I'm going to let them go to seed and spread that seed. I find it's a lot easier just to chop and drop plants that you don't want than to try and propagate them from seed and nurture them and then move them all out. Just let nature take that role, and we can just tweak it as the system needs. There you have it. From this one small area, you can get a huge variety of plants. So with a little bit of planning, as in potting up and growing on, or just digging up and moving, you can avoid visiting your local nursery. In fact, you could become your own community nursery for your local area. Or you can just give away your plants. I've found that people I give it to, whether it be friends, family or neighbours, they all love to share how the plant's growing and what it's providing for them. So it brings a lot of joy to people, and it brings joy to me too. So why don't you give this a try? Let your garden go wild and create abundance, then you can spread these plants far and wide. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and also consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you again for watching, and bye for now.